Mr. Speaker, when I talk to post-secondary education students, the biggest issue they raise is their concern about the high level of student debt. In estimates, I asked the Minister of Education to provide the total student debt, including the debt to provincial and federal governments and the debt to other lenders outside the provincial and federal student loan program. The Minister of Education could not provide this number, indicating that the government has no clue about the full extent of student debt in our province.
It's true, he doesn't.
Since the minister was not able to answer my question, I asked the Deputy Premier, what is the current total amount of Manitoba's student debt, including both debt from student loans and debt to other lenders?
Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member for his interest in post-secondary education in the province of Manitoba. As he well knows, students get an incredible good deal here in Manitoba. We have among the lowest tuition rates for universities and colleges in Canada. We continue to fund universities and colleges at the highest rate among the provinces in Canada. We have a tuition rebate program that provides support at the end of degrees. And at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, those students are going to be prepared to get a good job and stay here and live in Manitoba.
Mr. Speaker, the minister still couldn't answer the question.
No.
Mr. Speaker, the amount of money in the provincial budget for post-secondary education student bursaries, grants, and scholarships was $38.7 million in 2008-2009. This year, as this document I table shows, the amount has dropped by $18 million.
Wow.
Mr. Speaker, it should not be surprising that slashing student financial aid by $18 million increases student debt. When will the government, this NDP government, when will this NDP government address this multi-million-dollar shortfall in funding of grants, bursaries, and scholarships to post-secondary education students here in Manitoba?
Mr. Speaker, again, I thank the member for his interest in post-secondary education. He should know that we've provided $240 million worth of grants and bursaries since we were first elected. That provides direct support. That provides direct supports to students in order to make sure that they are successful students, that they go on and get a good job, live here in Manitoba. But more than that, Mr. Speaker, as I just said, when getting a student loan, students in Manitoba only need to pay prime on their student loan. We've reduced interest rates on student loans, Mr. Speaker, because we care about students. We want our post-secondary system to be a quality system, to be accessible, and certainly to be affordable.
The minister hasn't explained why he slashed by $18 million the funding for student loans.
Running with scissors.
Mr. Speaker, the province gets more than $1.7 billion of unconditional funding from the federal government through transfers and equalization transfers. This is funding that this government could prioritize to help students, but it doesn't.
No, they don't.
As a result, students take a back seat in this province and get their
Right
funding
back there.
for student aid cut, and their debts as a result rise. When will the NDP government start prioritizing students and improve funding
Never.
of bursaries, grants, and scholarships to help reduce student debt and make post-secondary education more affordable?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And again, I thank the member for his interest in post-secondary education. It really is surprising that he should get on his high horse, though. He was a key decision maker tasked with leading a full review of the government's science and technology policy. And following his review, the Liberal government of the day in the 1990s, the federal Liberal government, made the largest education and research funding cuts this country has ever seen. Mr. Speaker, if the member from River Heights really wants to stand shoulder to shoulder with students, then he ought to have voted for the budget, but he voted against it.